little baby Rachel are watching the game back in Dallas. We've asked Dan Jiggets to step in. Danny, this Philadelphia team has been a real study in contrast. They look all-world in defeating the Giants on Monday night, and then they look just awful last week against Cleveland.
Well, Vern, that's a real sign of a young team. You have a great Monday night game, and then you can't come back and concentrate the next week. But I tell you something, this team and the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys, don't like each other very much, and that's evident when you talk to the players.
The Cowboys, the last time they were 2-5, I had just gotten out of college. Dan Jiggets was in the 5th grade. And as Michael Irvin, the Cowboy wide receiver, told us last night, he was just a thought.
Well, you know, when you think of Dallas, you always think about the crown jewel of the NFL. But they've had their problems this year. The team is up for sale and all the rest of those changes. But they can change things around today if they do two things. Get the ball into Herschel Walker's hands early and get Steve Pallure to put some points on the board, not just deliver numbers.
Overcast skies, 56 degrees. It's a terrific football temperature. Winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15. Humidity 58%. It was clear this morning. It had rained the last couple of days. The forecast called for clear skies, but then the clouds rolled in about an hour and a half ago. Luis Zendejas, once a Cowboy at the beginning of the year, will kick off as Dallas has won the toss. Kelvin Martin, 3 yards in, and will return it. Gets a good block right side and is out to the 29-yard line. Tackle made by Byron Evans, a return of 32 yards. And Steve Pallure knocked out on the 3rd play a week ago against the Chicago Bears. He is back in. And defensively for the Philadelphia Eagles, Reggie White, 7.5 sacks. Mike Pitts, Jerome Brown, and Clyde Simmons. That is the strength of the Eagles. The linebackers, Seth Joyner, Reichenbach, and Todd Bell. And the defensive secondary, Roynell Young, the rookie Eric Allen, Wes Hopkins, and Andre Waters. First down from the 29. Kelvin Martin starts, goes wide to the left. Newsom comes all the way over to the right side and lines up outside Ray Alexander. Now they shift again. Blitz threatened by the Eagles. That's Thornton Chandler in motion. All of that to give Herschel Walker the ball for a gain of 1.
Well, you know, the thing that the Cowboys are trying to do is get some one-on-one matchups with those linebackers and Herschel, but you've got to be a little bit more effective than that.
Offensively for the Cowboys, it's Pallure at quarterback, Herschel Walker, Timmy Newsom, Ray Alexander, and Kelvin Martin start. They've had major injuries at the wide receiver spot. The offensive line, the wide bodies, Dave Wydell, Nate Newton, Tom Rafferty, the 13-year veteran, Crawford Kerr, Kevin Gogan, who gets Reggie White today, and Thornton Chandler. 2nd and 9, Dallas. Again, a 3 wide receiver set. Motion again, 4-man rush, play fake, and the pass to Kelvin Martin. Open on a slant pattern, first down, Dallas, tackled by Wes Hopkins. A gain of 16 out to the 45.
Now, what you're trying to do if you're the Dallas Cowboys is you're trying to isolate your receivers on those defensive backs with the motion, and that's why they're using it, because they understand that this Philadelphia defense, fairly complicated. When you put that motion into the thing, it's like a wild card in the defense, throws everybody off in that secondary. You got to stay with your guy all the way across the field.
Kelvin Martin has been a major revelation for the Cowboys this year. 3rd-round draft choice of a year ago, playing with a broken wrist. So he has a cast in his left hand. He goes wide to the left on first down 10 from the 45. Newsom, the motion man. The handoff, Walker going left, gets to the outside, gets a little bit of a shield block, and then mostly on his own, gets inside the 45, and Eric Allen made the tackle.
And you do not want your cornerbacks making tackles on Herschel Walker. That's not the best way to play defense. But again, that time the Philadelphia defense settled down. You didn't see them moving with the movement. What they said is, hey, look, let's make it simple for ourselves. That's what Dallas wants you to do. Settle down in there and don't try to play that man-to-man. Just play some zones.
That's a gain of 9, 2nd down and 1. Cowboys have been criticized for not using Walker enough early in games recently, particularly the last 2. Here's a play fake. Pallure settles for the short man, Timmy Newsom. And he's down the sidelines and out of bounds with another Cowboy first down at the 34-yard line. Wes Hopkins again with the tackle.
Timmy Newsom was a little upset. He felt he got a late shot there as he ran along the sideline. Here we can get another look at it. Steve Pallure pulls out, drops back, and rolls to his right. Now he's going to find Timmy out there in the flat. He's wide open because the linebacker you saw was dropping off. Now Timmy does what he does best, gets along that sideline and gets those extra yards, squeezes him out, and that's what he was upset about. He felt that he got that late shot there on the sideline by Seth Joyner.
Impressive early drive for the Cowboys. 23 catches coming in for Newsom. First down 10 at the 34. And as much as anything, the Cowboys would love to get this crowd out of the game early. Play fake, blitz, pass left. Bobbled and then caught by Newsom. And he is inside the 30 and down at the 27. Tackle made by Andre Waters. A lot of play fakes early on first downs, Dan.
Yeah, well, you know, everybody's thinking, hey, look, they're going to put the ball in Herschel's hands. So what do the Cowboys do? They come out and put it in everybody else's hands as well as Herschel. So you mix up your pass distribution as well as your run and let the defense start thinking, gee, they're not going to just go to Herschel. Who else are they going to use now on this offense? So you have to play everybody all over the field. You cannot just lock in on Herschel Walker.
2nd down and 3. Opening drive of the ball game, no score. An impressive start for the Cowboys. Walker left. Terrific block from Timmy Newsom. And a first down for Dallas inside the 25 at the 23. Todd Bell, a former teammate of Dan Jiggett's with the Chicago Bears, makes the tackle.
Yeah, he calls himself the little linebacker out there, but he can't be too little when you tackle number 34. He's a load and a half to bring down at about 225 pounds. But Todd Bell is about 225, and he played safety at that weight. Now, Buddy Ryan brought him in and said, hey, look, can you play linebacker for me? He says, sure, no problem. That means I can gain 10 more pounds, right?
He does play on the passing downs primarily, and then Dwayne Giles will come in for Bell on short yardage situations. First down, Dallas. Cosby is in at tight end. Doug bothered by an Achilles tendon. Now the Cowboys shifting again, saying Alexander wide to the right. 5 seconds on the 45-second clock left. Timeout. They could not beat the clock with all that motion and the play late getting in.
Well, Vern, that's something you notice if you look at the Cowboys offense, that they do not give themselves a lot of time when they come up to the line of scrimmage in order to do the motion that they like to do. But we'll have more about that when we come back in a moment.
This has been a most impressive Dallas Cowboy drive to open the ball game. They have a first down and 10 at the 22. The Eagles have had problems in the first quarter of the last 5 games. They've been outscored 46-0. Philadelphia got 21 in the first quarter against Tampa, 14 in the first quarter of the second game against Cincinnati, and they have not crossed the goal line in the first quarter since then. Dallas has had problems scoring in any quarter all year, averaging 16 points a game. Blitz is threatened on first down and 10. Double tight end set. Martin in motion, play fake, and flags before the snap. Now this is not. Now there's the first little altercation that's broken out.
Well, you know, Kevin Gogan took a little grief off of Reggie White last year, and he said he's been in the league now for a year, and he's not ready to take it anymore. And now here we see Reggie White moving inside right over Gogan, and he gets him right up in the chest, tries to push off a little bit there, and now you see Kevin tying up on him pretty good. Oh, okay, Kevin's getting him back for last year, huh?
That's against the Cowboys. In the game that caused so much controversy, the first game after the strike last year, Kevin Gogan got his first start for the Cowboys. He was up against Reggie White. On the first play of that game, according to Gogan, White came across and put both hands with fingers extended inside his face mask and said, "Welcome to the league."
Thought he was an optometrist, huh?
First and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. That'll be a fascinating matchup throughout the afternoon. Split backs behind Steve Fuller. A 2-step drop, goes left side, man open, caught. They picked up 5. Eric Allen makes the catch, or the tackle on Ray Alexander.
Now, you know, the problem, though, with that penalty that Kevin just got is the fact that when you're down in that plus territory, you're down near that 20-yard line, you don't want penalties like that pushing you back. Now they gain 5 yards in the play, but now it's 2nd down and 10. And that's when you take young tackles and you say, hey, look, just settle down. That stuff doesn't help us at all up there.
Gogan replaced Phil Paz-Derrick, who decided to retire after the strike. Gogan was also one of those who had to sit out a 30-day suspension earlier this year because of the violation of the drug abuse policy. Back in as the starter, and he's one of the wide bodies, 300-pounders up there. 2nd and 10, Dallas. No score. Kelvin Martin starts in motion. Play fake. Flag on the far side of the field before the snap.
That was Dave Waddell who pushed off just a little early at the left tackle position.
Ball start. Offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Dave Waddell, the opposite tackle, and that has been a problem spot for the Cowboys. Mark Tuanay, who was the starter, is out for the season, knee surgery. Darrell Smith, who started the replacement games at that spot a year ago, has 2 broken ribs. Waddell is a 4th-round draft choice at Boston College.
But you know, the thing about him, though, he's a tough kid, you know, and Tom Landry said in the newspaper articles that he didn't expect him to play as well as he has coming in as a rookie. But the guy's been playing pretty well. I saw him last week against Richard Dent, and he did pretty good against him.
2nd and 15. Again, no score, 11:28 to go, first quarter. Ballure, man wide open, Ray Alexander. He's down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Mike Reichenbach makes the tackle, and Wes Hopkins was in the area. Hopkins, a wonderful story, out with major knee surgery in September of '86. He was out for 2 full years before he was able to rehabilitate himself and come back and start this year.
Wes Hopkins is one of those guys that dedicates himself to playing football as well as taking care of the rest of his life. And I think that when you see players do that and come back after a 2-year absence, you know that that's the kind of person they have to be, because it just doesn't happen naturally.
Cowboys 45% on 3rd downs. They've got a 3rd down and 6 right now. Reggie White lined up in the center over Tom Rafferty. He'll be there quite often. Blitz is coming. Ballure reads it, and he's got the ball delivered to Alexander. Still fighting for the end zone. Touchdown, Dallas. They came in waves at Steve Ballure. And this man, who has been so maligned for his problems inside the 20, found Alexander as the hot receiver.
Now, the key, though, is Steve Ballure sees the pressure coming up front. He just coolly sets up and fires it to Alexander downfield. Now, watch Ray Alexander. This is really presence of mind, taking that ball, taking it back into the end zone. Desire. You want to score, so you take it in, even regardless of who's on you.
Terry Hogue is the man who missed the tackle. Now Roger Ruzek for the extra point. Ruzek, from a field goal perspective, has been in a horrible slump. Ballure will hold, low snap. Kick is up. It's good. The Cowboys with an impressive start. They go 71 yards, overcome a couple of penalties, and get the touchdown to Alexander. Ray Alexander's 3rd touchdown catch of 1988 gives the Cowboys a 7-0 lead, 10:25 to go first quarter. And a very impressive drive of 9 plays, 4 minutes and 35 seconds, and they overcame 2 penalties en route.
And the key, too, is that they got the ball in a lot of people's hands, but still they got it to Herschel in the effective mode of running outside. And that's what they really wanted to do. And then they featured the receivers down later on.
Roger Ruzek will kick off. Sean Beals is the deep man. He's a rookie out of Idaho State. Ruzek involved in a bitter contract dispute with the Cowboys and held out of camp. And at the start of the season, Luis Zendejas, who is now the Eagle kicker, was kicking for the Cowboys. Then a decision made at the after the second week to keep Ruzek, let Zendejas go. And in the wonderful, wacky world of field goal kickers, there they are in the same field again.
And Ruzek's 4-10, and
Zendejas has hit 5 in a row. Yes, and it has made the newspapers in Dallas. It has not gone unnoticed. Here's Ruzek's kick, short one. Squib kick, Konechny drops it, picks it up. Mark Konechny has it, and he gets it back as far as the 20-yard line. One of the fascinating aspects of the NFL. There's Mark Konechny, who was back with Sean Beals. What are the odds of a kid from Idaho State joining a kid from Alma College on the field of Veterans Field? Here's Randall Cunningham, sacked 9 times a week ago, but brilliant in the Monday night win over the Giants. And against him, the Cowboys will deploy Ed Too-Tall Jones, Kevin Brooks, a hobbled Danny Noonan, Jeffcoat, Ron Burton, Lockhart, and Cobb, the former Eagle. And the secondary has Everson Walls, Williams, Michael Downs, and Bill Bates. 1st and 10 from the 20. Chris Carter starts in motion, and Cunningham will throw on 1st down. Left side, Greg Garrity has it. Robert Williams with the tackle. They immediately attack the left cornerback spot. That's been a weak spot for the Cowboys. There's Garrity. He's joined in the offensive set by Randall Cunningham, Keith Byers, and Anthony Toney, along with Chris Carter. Michael Quick, of course, on injured reserve. Up front, Matt Darwin, David Alexander, Dave Remington, Singletary, who might give way to recently signed Ron Solt today, Ron Heller at right tackle, and the rookie sensation Keith Jackson out of Oklahoma. 1st and 10, Philadelphia. Cunningham has been sacked 34 times this year, tops in the league. Draw play. They give it to Anthony Toney, and that didn't fool anybody. No gain. Jim Jeffcoat with the tackle.
And Keith Jackson came over in motion and gave a real weak stalk block there at the point of attack. He's a great receiver, but I think, you know, you think a guy coming out of Oklahoma, he knows how to throw a block or two, but he really didn't get up and pop the defender like you'd like to see.
Elsewhere around the league, you see other scores. Jimmy Giles comes in as the second tight end now, the much-traveled veteran, having played with Houston, Tampa Bay, Detroit, and now Philadelphia. Two wide receivers set to the left side on 2nd and 11. Another draw play. Right side, Keith Byers is dropped. Kevin Brooks this time, who had a terrific game last week against Chicago.
Well, you know what they were trying to do is run a little fake bootleg there. Now, what they're setting up is Randall Cunningham rolling out, faking that bootleg. You keep faking it, and sooner or later you're going to come out there, and he's going to actually have the ball and throw downfield. That time, Keith Byers ran into a little traffic over on his offensive right side.
3rd and 11, Byers is out. Ron Johnson just signed. After Mike Quick went down, comes into the lineup. 3 wide receiver set. And Cunningham, no shotgun on 3rd and 11. Audible. Cowboys threaten the blitz. Williams backs off the dog. And Cunningham's back, pumps once and goes deep. Oh! Should have been intercepted. Bill Bates had it right in his mitts. Right in his mitts.
Billy found himself playing center field on his own, and he saw the ball, and all he saw was green in front of him, and he just simply dropped it. He took his eye off it right at the last second. Watch him look upfield, and now he's going to look downfield, and he's going to say, hey, look, I can make it to the end zone, and that's when that thing slips out of his hands. The other thing to remember, too, is that the field is a little damp, and what it does is it makes that ball really slick, and when something happens like that, where it goes over your shoulder pad, it'll pop out on you.
Calvin Martin, who's averaging 9.4 yards per return, to return John Pelchik's kick. That's way up in the air. And Martin slipped. Has to let it go. And it's going to be down at the 1-yard line. Touchback. His feet were in the end zone. A mental error by the Eagles. Watch what happened to Kelvin Martin. Well, first take a look in the end zone.
Now, what happens here is that as a defender, when you're running down, you have to stop the ball with your feet inside the field of play and not in the end zone. And there you see the defender's feet are inside the end zone, and as a result, it's a touchback.
That was Scott Curtis. The Cowboys get the ball at the 20-yard line. Now they're checking the replay. That play was reviewed by the replay official, Jack Fetty. He found Scott Curtis to be in the end zone, so it is a touchback, Dallas. The longest punt of John Telchik's career, 70 yards.
Well, you know, though, if you're going down to cover that punt, you're Scott Curtis. If you see the official between you and the ball, the official is a part of the field. So if he's blocking you from the ball, you simply run over him and go to the football. That's a great chance to get an official, too.
Ball does come out to the 22nd Dallas possession. 7:45 to go first quarter. Pallure, right side, Kelvin Martin. They're throwing much more on first down than they have been early in the year.
Well, you know, the thing that Tom Landry is always real big on is changing trends. He doesn't want to establish anything where people can get a lock on him. So now he's starting to go to guys like Kelvin Martin, Ray Alexander, getting the ball around in a lot of people's hands. So everybody can't say, as we said earlier, they're just going to use Herschel right, Herschel left, Herschel on the pass. That's not going to be the case today with the Cowboys. But the key is they will go to him when they need a first down.
They've got a second down and short right now. Walker thus far with 3 carries for 15 yards. Hasn't caught a pass yet. Second and short at the 30. Just shy of the 30. Officially, it's the 29. Now, Pallure calmly motions Newsome over. They've got 4 seconds left, and they have to use their second timeout because they can't beat the 45-second clock.
Well, the Cowboys always talked about how much motion they wanted to use and how they wanted to confuse the Philadelphia defense. Now, the problem that you run into, though, is you drain that clock because not only does it take you a year and a day to get the play in from the sideline, but then when you do all of your motion, and if you ever have to try to audible off because of a blitz, you're really in trouble. And now they've burned 2 timeouts because of that.
Much made this week about the rivalry, the fact that Buddy Ryan did fake the touchdown the knee down last year and then have Randall Cunningham throw it into the end zone. Ryan said, hey, it was revenge. What goes around comes around.
Well, you know,
a lot of speculation, Dan, about how much effect that would have once the game started. What do you think?
I think that all drains off. That's nice pre-game stuff, but once you get into the game, you got to concentrate on your job, and you can't be thinking about, gee, you remember that knee down last year? If you do that, you'll end up going home sad again. So I think what the Cowboys really have to do is settle down and get into their game.
It was interesting, the contrast, however. There's America's has-been, one of the signs here. You hear a lot about locker room. Of course, well, there was a billboard in the Philadelphia locker room with 14 articles, many of which had been printed in Dallas. In the Dallas locker room, at least as of Thursday, the only thing on the bulletin board was a ticket request list for this game. And Tom Rafferty had asked for 40 tickets. Second down and short. Dallas leads it 7-0. Here's Herschel Walker searching right side. Another great block from Newsome. Boy, Timmy Newsome really leveled the linebacker.
Well, Timmy Newsome is kind of an unselfish player, but you know what happens sometimes along that defensive line? Things change a little bit. You get some good blocking up front, and then Reggie White is one of those guys that got blocked a little bit. Now, he likes to move around. Here we got him on the isolation, and Kevin Gogan gets some help from the tight end Chandler. They're double-teaming him, and they got him up in the face and everything else. But, hey, you know, occasionally you're on the offensive line, your hands slip up on the pads a little bit.
Now, you talking from experience?
Absolutely.
Strictly accidental, right?
That's right. Never meant to do it, Coach.
Never saw a Harvard man with a straight arm. First and 10, Dallas, 7-0, they lead. Herschel goes left. Gets another block from Newsome on Clyde Simmons. And then there is the price you pay as a defensive back trying to make the tackle. Did you see Wes Hopkins bounce off him?
Yeah, that's the thing that Herschel does. He'll punish you when you try to tackle him, particularly if it's up top. He's going to punish you if you're the tackler. Now, watch here as Wes Hopkins, number 48, comes into the screen. He hits Herschel high, and he takes the beating, not Herschel. Herschel goes over. He can get a glass of Gatorade now.
What's the key, though, Dan? Tackling down low?
That's the key. You got to go down and maybe at his shin, not necessarily at his ankles because he has great balance, but you hit the shins, that's when he's going to go down. And don't hit those knees because that'll knock you out.
Second down and 3. 6:47 to go. First quarter. Dallas up 7-0. Ball at the 40. Play fake. Pallure. Good protection. Now he'll run. And he's close for the first down. Visions of a week ago with Mike Singletary dancing through a lot of folks' heads.
Yeah, but Steve took a look at the clock and said, gee, I'm past 90 seconds. It's okay to go. He didn't want to look like Michael Spinks again and go out in 91 seconds. But that play, you saw what he did, though. He rolled and protected himself and covered himself up as soon as he hit the turf. Young quarterbacks get smart after they get stuck a couple of times. Coaches know that, hey, the guy's going to have to get hit a couple of times, and then he starts to realize that we're telling him the truth. Get down to the ground and protect yourself.
These may be the best two running quarterbacks in the NFL on the same field today, Cunningham and Pallure. Double tight end set. It's third and about a foot. Cosby, Folsom, they got 3 tight ends in now. Steve Folsom has joined them. Cosby is the man in motion. Herschel Walker. And he did not get it. Doug Bartlett made the tackle. There is a flag down. The Cowboys are reacting as if it's against the Eagles.
Well, what happens a lot of times in the short yardage plays is that down along that defensive line, they'll move over into the neutral zone.
Early use of the hands. Defense. Number 96. Hands to the face. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Isn't that something? They get Clyde Simmons. They didn't see Kevin Gogan.
Well, you know, that happens a couple of times if you're starting to make a little noise on defense. See, the key is if you're going to do something like that, don't talk. Just do it. It's like Clint Eastwood said in that movie. Don't, you know, if you're going to shoot, don't talk. And that's what happens there. Now, what happens, though, is the next play out, the offense will try to get him back very secretly. That's the way offensive linemen work. They kind of just want to, you know, work at you, and then they'll get you back.
First and 10, all kinds of shifting by the Cowboys. Alexander goes wide left. Newsome and Kelvin Martin are wide to the right. And off on the draw, Walker nailed Reggie White. Flag down in the defensive backfield, and it might be against the Eagles.
And Ray Alexander is all in. I believe that's Wes Hopkins' face talking a little bit of that trash that, you know, it's going to get started here again now.
Dick Hantak is the referee today. There is Reggie White. I think almost by unanimous consent, the best defensive lineman in the league right now.
Yeah, he's playing as well as anybody I've ever seen play the position of defensive end and defensive tackle.
Now, they've not moved the ball from where Walker was stopped. Andre Waters arguing his case.
Personal foul. Defense, number 20. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Waters has a reputation, whether deserved or not, of being a player who's right on the edge.
Yeah, but you know what? Buddy Ryan likes a tough guy, but he likes a smart guy in the secondary. Now, what he did by getting caught is not smart. Now, if you can do what you've got to do without getting caught, then he'll live with that. But when you get that 15-yarder or the 10-yarder or whatever it might be, he does not appreciate that, because suddenly you're moving from around the 50-yard line down to the 42, and that's a big difference when you move into the positive area of the field.
And especially after the outstanding play by Reggie White that had stopped Walker for the loss. And instead, it's a first down 10, Dallas, 5:18 to go. This first quarter has been dominated by the Cowboys. 3 plays and a punt for the Eagles. Play fake for Pelor. Screen pass. Left side, Herschel Walker. Now he's got some room. And a first down inside the 30 at the 28. Eric Allen had to make the tackle.
And you saw where Eric Allen hit Herschel Walker down on those shins, because that's the only place where he's vulnerable, because he's human down there. I think the rest of him is made by a computer. This guy, you know, I talked about him last week, and I said that the kind of human being he is, you really like him. He's a guy that he said he's programmed to win, and that's something that you like to hear out of an individual. The guy doesn't allow, you know, the other normal hurdles in life to really stop him. That's the kind of person he is. He says, hey, look, I can accomplish whatever I want to if I believe I can do it.
See the other scores rolling by. Some surprises early on. Our score 7-0 Dallas, an 18-yard touchdown toss. Pelor to Alexander. And for the 3rd time in the first quarter, the Cowboys have to use a timeout. They are zipped. They're out of timeouts for the rest of the half.
Only 3 seconds remained on the 30-second clock. Now, what Steve Pelor is doing is he's coming up, and Philadelphia is shifting that defense around. He wants to make his call, and then he says, gee, maybe I can audible here. But by the time he looks up and sees that 30-second clock, hey, it's too late. The only thing you can do is call a timeout.
That's Al Levan looking on with Tom Landry as Pelor pleads his case and tries to tell him what's wrong. .504 remaining in the first quarter of play. The Cowboys dominating but leading by only 7. And they have used their 3rd timeout. At last time, Dan, it appeared that it was strictly one of the offensive players going the wrong way.
Well, what can happen sometimes is the offense is so confusing when you hear all of those calls made. You know, sometimes you go to the wrong side. And that time, Kelvin Martin went to the wrong side of the formation. So Steve Pelor signaling him to go back over the other side, drain the clock on him.
1st and 10. Martin starts in motion, followed by Eric Allen. Pelor back, goes deep. That's simply a bad throw.
That was a wounded duck.
And now another fight is broken out. Well, any thoughts that the hostility between these two teams might have evaporated with a kickoff has been negated.
Well, you know what happens sometimes in the game is somebody gets it started again. Somebody says something on the field. Sometimes we're not privy to all of those little conversations, and that's what starts the atrocities. And again, today it's been very evident.
This time it was Jerome Brown and Crawford Kerr who got into it. There's Brown, number 99.
Now, Buddy Ryan set Jerome Brown down a couple of weeks ago because of fighting on the field. He said, hey, look, he's supposed to be playing out there, not fighting. You can't help me if he kicked out of a game. Now he's back at it again.
Here's Dick Hantak, who's going to straighten this out for us. This may be a case of offsetting fouls. Let's see. Ryan's going to, the Eagles are going to call timeout.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense. Unnecessary roughness. Offense. Penalties are all set.
It was Brown of the Eagles. Crawford Kerr.
Their first timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
And this is a 40-second timeout as the explanation is being given to the Cowboy bench.
Well, you know, I don't really see where there's any explanation needed. Both guys are out there going at it, and they just really called it a play on both houses and said, okay, guys, reset it and cut this stuff out. Now, there you see them right down at the bottom of your screen. They got some face masks going. Now, it's obvious that Jerome Brown's face mask had been pulled off already because his helmet had been pulled off by Crawford Kerr. They're really going at it down there. They don't like each other too much, but this is what's going to make an interesting matchup up front. So if you want to see what mano a mano is all about, we'll keep an eye on that pit today.
Herschel Walker's got a smile. First down and 10, and we're back to play. That is the first Eagle timeout.
Herschel says all they have to do is run.
Now the crowd gets back into it. This all started in Buddy Ryan and the Eagles' sense When Tom Landry used Dorsett, Ed Jones, Randy White, a couple of others who crossed the picket line in the first game a year ago. The Cowboys won that 41-22. Ryan had no veterans in the lineup. And then, of course, Ryan went for the touchdown with 2 seconds left and admitted that he was trying to run up the score on Tom Landry. Interesting, they went for a fake punt against Tampa Bay earlier this year, and he was asked if he was trying to run up the score. Ryan said, "I only do that against Landry." 2nd down and 10 after the incomplete pass and the 2 flags. Ballure with time. Left side, double coverage. Caught. Out of bounds at the 1-yard line, Ray Alexander, the former Canadian League All-Star. A 26-yard gain from Ballure.
Now, the thing that Ray Alexander does here on the left side of your screen is watch him slip down in between 2 defenders, and this ball is perfectly thrown by Ballure. Now, watch the ball slip right down in between 2 defenders, and Ray Alexander, concentration on the play, concentrates on the ball rather than the defender, and he makes the play and almost gets in for the touch.
Cowboys 1st and goal. An interesting stat. Herschel Walker has rushed for 665 yards. He has 1 rushing touchdown this year. They've not used him much inside the 10. They don't this time either. Newsome touchdown. Flag is down. And it's back at the 5-yard line.
Now you see Nate Newton is down there trying to do a dance, but the officials are trying to get the ball away from him. Don't celebrate yet, big guy.
Here the use of the hands on the defense. Hands to the face. 5-yard penalty. The penalty is declined. It is a touchdown.
That hands to the face penalty seems to be the one of choice today. It seems like everybody is trying to check and see if everybody else had a shave today or something. But you know what? That can be a dangerous thing, though. In all seriousness, when you take that face mask and jam it up, because you can jam a guy's neck back, and that's when it's not funny. When something serious happens to someone and they get injured.
The Cowboys come in 2-5. Roger Ruzek trying to give them a 14-0 lead. They have averaged just under 17 points per game, and they're on a verge of 14 in their first 2 possessions in Veterans Stadium. That's a 71-yard drive capped by an 80-yard drive. 18 plays for the Cowboy offense thus far. Only 4 for Philadelphia. Well, we've got an interesting game here, and next week, great doubleheader action for you on CBS. Many of you will see Chicago against New England. Next week, the Cowboys are at home against Phoenix, an important Western Division encounter between the Rams and New Orleans. Others will see Atlanta here in Philadelphia, while others of you watch Green Bay against Buffalo. And then the second half of the doubleheader, most of you will watch Minnesota out in Candlestick against the San Francisco 49ers, while others will watch the Giants against Detroit. That's a 4 o'clock start. It all begins with the NFL Today, live at 12:30 Eastern Time. See the fella in the back? That's Mike Quick.
And the guy down in front is another offensive tackle, Stan Walters. I like to mention those offensive linemen. They'll give them a little play. They need it.
Mike is doing analysis on the Philadelphia radio broadcast. The young fella in the middle is Merrill Reese, the play-by-play man, and then Stan Walters to the left. Mike hasn't earned the front row seat yet. Got the Bob Uecker seat in the broadcast booth. It's been an all-Cowboy first quarter. 4:49 to go. 14-0. Sean Beals to return the kick. And connecting is the short man at 15. Beals at the 5. Bounces off a tackle, bounces off another. Here's another flag. And it comes flying at the 25-yard line. Tackle is made by Robert Williams, and it's going to be against Philadelphia.
You know, Buddy Ryan was telling us the other day that they're one of the least penalized teams in the league, and everyone says they're a bunch of thugs and all of that. Well, they certainly have been collecting penalties today. I know they haven't.
On the return, number 83, penalized half the distance.
I know they haven't been collecting them in the past, but they certainly have been today, and it's really been affecting them both offensively and defensively, and that's something that you know Ryan is going to say, hey, look, that's got to stop, absolutely.
That cost them field position back inside the 15. The penalty was on Jimmy Giles. Randall Cunningham, brilliant in the win over New York, sacked 9 times last week. This Philadelphia offense, which twice this year has been over 400 yards, was held to 119 against the Browns.
And the way you slip into that kind of a groove is by not having an offense on the field, much like has happened to them today. That offense of the Philadelphia Eagles really has not been on the field very much. They can't get things clicking if they're sitting on the bench.
Cincinnati rolling over Houston, and Atlanta with an early lead over New York. First down 10. Eagles have 1 first down thus far. That's Keith Jackson in motion. Cunningham looks left. He's in trouble in the grasp, and that'll be the first sack of the day. And Cunningham, I think, with some justification, is going to argue about the in the grasp rule because, Dan, it takes away the athletic ability of the quarterback.
That was a terrible call because Jim Jeffcoat came by and just barely brushed him, and then Danny Noonan came in. But, hey, look. Now watch the play. Now first 77, Jeffcoat gets in and he beats his man on the inside. Noonan grabs him, slips off. Now with a great athlete back there, quarterback, you got to allow him to do his thing. You cannot restrict the game down to the point where it is no longer interesting to watch because you're trying to protect one player.
The key words, according to the rules, are grasp and control. And I would argue that Danny Noonan did not have control. He may have had grasp. Second down and 18. Myers lined up wide to the right. They throw it out to Keith Jackson, and Ron Burton makes the tackle on the rookie tight end out of Oklahoma. There's Burton, who's had a troubled season this year. He was a splash last year as a free agent, but has had some problems in the second season.
And he's got Mike Hegman back now on the field to help him out a little bit. Hegman's the veteran back there. They call him the flex master, and he understands that flex defense. And I'm sure he's taking Ron Burton under his wing and saying, hey, look, this is how you do this thing. And settling the guy down so he doesn't make those rookie and first and second year mistakes.
Cowboys go into the prevent defense. Third down, 3 wide receiver set, 3rd and 12. 14-0. Dallas leads it. Cunningham looks left. Ed Jones has him. Cunningham there. He's out of the grasp. Pumps once and then gets nailed. That will count as a sack. Down at the 10-yard line. Kevin Brooks got up with him. But you saw an example of the kind of thing that Cunningham is capable of.
Now, the one thing that happened, though, is Jim Jeffcoat read the screenplay all the way. He didn't get cut by the tackle, so what he does is he gets up and he's in Randall's face. Randall can't unload the football, so now he starts scrambling, and he's in big trouble. He just looks for an out.
John Pelchik for the second time, a career long of 70 yards the first time out. Kelvin Martin waits near midfield. Another fine punt by Pelchik. This time Martin will grab it at the 39. Down at the 44. And another one breaks out. This time Everett Gay and David Little. That's about the 7th flag we've had in the first quarter. And it was after Martin had been down. 50-yard punt, 5 on the return.
You know, the thing that the Dallas guys are doing is playing it very smart. They're walking away from the fight. They'll start a little something, then get away real quick. And the official sees that shot that's thrown on the second turn. And what he's doing is he's catching the Philadelphia Eagles in most of the action.
Well, from the way the Cowboys were reacting, this is going to be against David Little, number 89.
And see, they're kind of joking about it, say, oh, yeah, you got him again.
Kelvin Edwards giving a little high five to Everett Gay. Here's Dick Hantak.
Personal foul. Number 89 on the right team. Grabbing and twisting the face mask. 15-yard penalty. First down.
See, if you're going to try to get back at somebody, you got to do it in a clean way. I mean, if you get a good clean shot on a guy, you take the clean shot. But when you start going to that face mask, going to the neck, all of that stuff, that doesn't make any sense because the officials can see it, number one. I mean, if you're going to try to get a shot on somebody, you just work in there and wait until the opportunity presents itself during the game. And then, you know, that's what football's all about, hitting people, but not doing stuff like grabbing face masks.
And again, the Cowboys get the ball with field position at the 42. They've had to drive 71 and 80 yards for their 2 touchdowns. It's a 14-0 game that has been dominated by Dallas. First down 10. Newsom starts in motion. Herschel Walker goes left, searches, has some room. Foot race with Jerome Brown. And Wes Hopkins and Brown catch up with him. Herschel Walker's previous longest run this year had been 26 yards. That is a 29-yard effort for Walker.
And the one thing that he got was a great block out of Crawford Kerr at the point of attack. He pulled out and just made a nice block here on the linebacker. Now watch Kerr, 68 from the backside. Gogan gets out and gets a backside block as well, but Kerr, 68 right there. Key block. Now Herschel sprung into the secondary, and he does the rest because it's very difficult to catch a guy who's a world-class sprinter, particularly when he's got a little lead on you. But Jerome Brown doesn't do a bad job of chasing him down on the sideline.
That block by Kerr on Andre Waters. This one doesn't work. And the second man in puts a hat on it.
And what you saw Todd Bell, number 52, doing was trying to strip the ball out of there. That's something that Buddy Ryan taught him from the first day he came to the Chicago Bears, is go after that ball and get the turnover. Here's an isolation of Herschel. He's trying to head off that left side, and now there's nowhere to go up there. Todd Bell meets him at the point of attack, wrestles him down. Now watch Todd reach in and try to get him down to the ground. He didn't try to reach him for that ball. He's just wrestling him down, it looked like a steer wrestling contest out there.
That's a loss. Second down and 12. Cowboys lead 14-0. Rushing yards is 52 to -2. Philadelphia defense was confused at the snap. Diving catch made by Herschel Walker inside the 10 at the 9.
And he played that one smart as well. He knew that he could roll it towards the end zone without even getting up. And until he's touched and he's down, he's still making positive yardage. And here we see it on the replay. Fleur finds Herschel right over the middle there. Now he makes a nice diving catch, and now watch him just keep rolling towards the end zone, understanding that until he's touched, he's live. You try to get up in that situation, though, that's when they find your head rolling over towards the sideline. So he played it very smart.
Cowboys have had problems inside the 10 this year. This will be the 25th play they have run inside the 10. They have not used Walker as much as you think they should, perhaps. 52% of the time, either as a receiver or a running back. This is a 3-wide receiver set on 3rd and 6. Fleur back, rolls out. Timmy Newsom at the 10, far short of the first down. Now call on Roger Ruzek. Mike Pitts made the tackle.
Well, when Herschel ran to the corner of the end zone, he had a lot of help over there with him in the names of a couple of those defensive backs from the Eagles. They were not going to let him get out in that end zone by himself. So then Steve Fleur just said, hey, look, I'll dump it off to Timmy Newsom and allow him to try to get some yardage on the play. But Herschel was double and triple teamed down there in the end zone.
That'll bring on Roger Ruzek, who has been in a prolonged slump since signing a new contract. He's 4 of 10 for the year. Now, earlier this week, he hit 24 of 25 in practice on Thursday. And the one miss was from 51 yards out. This will be a 27-yard field goal effort. It's good. And the Dallas Cowboys have equaled their per-game scoring average in the first 14.5 minutes of this ball game. They're up 17-0 on drives of 71, 80, and 42 yards.
Well, you think back to how they got there, too. Penalties on the part of the Eagles. Penalties that don't help you in terms of, grabbing face masks and all that. Keep going back to that point because it changes field position and it also changes what you have to do offensively. You no longer have to struggle to get the first down because it's given to you as a result of that penalty. Now, what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on your defense because you're suddenly backed up against the wall, even if you start out with good field position. And then you get down by 17 points and your offense hasn't even been on the field to break a sweat, really. And now you're down 17 points.
Buddy Ryan
with Jeff Fisher, who played defensive back for him with the Chicago Bears out of USC. When he first came into the Bears, we nicknamed him Guppy because he was a little fish.
Interesting what a lot of speculation about the locker room orations this week. Kevin Gogan told us last night that Tom Landry told the team on Friday, well, if we win, I might even shake Buddy Ryan's hand.
I bet.
I can't see it either. Roger Ruzek will kick off. Beals is back, connecting the short man, and the ball falls off the tee.
You know what always makes me kind of smile to see these kickers, they wear one white shoe and one black shoe. Well, the reason why is one's a soccer shoe and the other one's a natural turf shoe. But, you always say, hey, look, why can't you get 2 white shoes? They said that when you change it to the white shoe, it changes the way that the shoe feels on the ball. I don't believe that.
I was going to ask you. Sean Beals at the 5. Right side. Good return by Sean Beals, the rookie from Idaho State, all the way out to the 30-yard line. That'll do it from Veterans Stadium for quarter number 1. The Cowboys on a roll, 17-zip.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. GMAC, the official sponsor of America's dreams. And by the new generation of Oldsmobiles. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer.
Back for quarter number 2 from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Jiggets. The Cowboys with a 1-yard touchdown run from Timmy Newsome. A touchdown catch of 18 for Lure to Ray Alexander and a field goal from Roger Ruzak. And the Eagles have now been outscored 63-0 in the first quarter of their last 6 games. Every stat is overwhelmingly in favor of Dallas. There's one of them. 10 minutes to almost 5 minutes. 1st and 10 Eagles at the 31. Quick count. Anthony Toney for a couple. And that'll be a 2nd down and 8. And that gets the Eagles back to even yards. 0 yards rushing now.
Now, if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan, you start saying, hey, look, what do they have to do to get back in the game? Well, the one thing you want to do is establish some kind of a run game and be effective with it, and that gives Randall Cunningham an opportunity to look downfield.
There's a penalty, a flag that was slipped onto the ground, and it's against the Cowboys, and I quite frankly didn't hear what it was. It's a 5-yard call. Offside, Dallas is the call. So it'll be 1st down and 5.
That was one of those sneaky ones. The guy must have just dropped it out of his pocket.
I know it.
It really didn't hit the field.
Slipped it in there a little bit. 1st and 5, Eagles down 17-0. Cunningham 2 of 3. He's been sacked twice. Play fake. Cunningham rolls out. Great job by Noonan of shadowing him, and then Cunningham has to throw it away. That was a terrific job of containment by Danny Noonan.
Well, what you got is the 2 inside guys really forced to play. Now Randall's back in the backfield faking, but he's the only person he's faking is himself because he doesn't look around and see those defenders standing right behind him. So that suddenly he has to pull out and there's nobody left there. Now you see all those down blocks coming, and that's when Noonan beats everybody inside, and now Tall's got the pressure from the backside. Randall's just scrambling, trying to set up and throw the ball downfield.
2nd down and 5. 17-0. Dallas leads it. Another play fake, and Cunningham with time across the middle. Caught. Great catch. Keith Jackson. His 2nd of the game, and the Eagles are across midfield for the first time. Bill Bates with the tackle.
Keith Jackson is one of those guys that came into the league and looked like he'd been playing in the National Football League for about 10 years. Randall Cunningham finds him coming across on a crossing pattern there. Now watch Keith just reach out, kind of make that nice play. But see, Billy Bates is right on his tail. That's the thing that will happen with Dallas. You'll be able to complete those kinds of passes, but you won't get that extra yardage on the run after you make the reception.
That's 44 catches for the year for the rookie from Oklahoma, who caught 13 his senior season at OU. 1st down and 10. First time Philadelphia's been across midfield, and Cunningham with an audible at the line. 45-second clock down to 2. He gets the snap off. Good protection. Deep left side. Man wide open. Overthrown. Oh, he had him. Ron Johnson, just signed after Michael Quick went on the injured reserve list.
And see, that's the difference between an experienced receiver who is also quick. In that play, he's able to run underneath of the football. Ron Johnson couldn't do it on that opportunity. Now, what you do sometimes is you come back and your quarterback says, hey, look, I got to gauge it down a little bit. You're not quite as fast as Mike Quick.
And again, Dan, they go at that left. There's Mike Quick. Again, he's going to be out for at least 5 more weeks.
And he was telling us the other day, he says it just kills him to sit there and watch things happen. And he says, hey, I can make a difference. But he can't because he's got one leg just gotten out of the cast.
2nd down and 10. Again, the change by Cunningham. Cowboys adjust their defense. Cunningham goes left side. He fires, bounces off a tackle. And then the Cowboys do show some aggressiveness. Interesting, Ernie Staunton, the defensive coordinator, said last night in a conversation that this young Dallas defense had played so well with such emotion through 5 games. And the last 2 games, they were just flat as could be, and they need to get aggressive today.
Yeah, and that Redskins game the other day, they didn't come out pumped up like he likes to see him. And then, of course, against the Bears, they did the same kind of thing, kind of went into a shell early in the game. Bears got up on them, and then they really were just trying to protect themselves. Now, the thing that Ernie Staunton says is, hey, look, I want you guys to get after them tomorrow. And that's what the Cowboys have been doing defensively.
3rd and 5. Shotgun. No splits. Cunningham, left side, intercepted. Picked off by the Cowboys, and here they come. This is Ron Francis. Inside the 30 and out of bounds with a flag down at the 27-yard line. Ron Francis, the #2 draft choice a year ago, who came off injured reserve and lost his starting spot because he was so rusty the last 2 games. A 32-yard return. The play will stand. The penalty after the reception.
Now, what happens in that situation is you get a little pumped up now because, you know, you've been having a tough time, but suddenly... Now suddenly you get pumped back up again. The penalty, I believe, was on Everson Walls on the return. Now you start getting that emotion working for you again as a defensive back. Here's a play again. Now watch on the right side of your screen because that's where Ron Francis is going to be. He makes a nice pick right off of the receiver's back. And now watch him reach over and just grab the football right there. 38 gets a good block by Billy Bates. Now he does his job, and Ron Francis does the rest. Now watch, Everson Walls came down and apparently pushed one of the offensive men in the back, and that's what the penalty was all about.
Ball at the 42. That is only the 5th interception for the Cowboys this year. Here's Herschel Walker going right. And he cuts it up inside the 40, down at the 38. Reggie White makes the tackle. Turnovers have been a problem for Dallas. They came in tied for dead last in the league. They were -9 in turnovers.
And what that usually tells you is your defense is not playing as aggressively as you would like to see. But certainly today they've turned it up a notch defensively, Dallas has.
And the contrast is Philadelphia. They were +10 in turnovers coming in. That's only the 6th interception that Randall Cunningham has thrown this year.
It was like Ernie Starner was telling us last night. He said, hey, look, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. You know, somebody will fumble the ball and you just don't get it.
2nd down and 5. Backs in the eye this time. They fake it to Walker. Ballure settles for an alternate receiver and drills the ball to Cosby. 1st down at the 25 into triple coverage. The former Pro Bowler, who was bothered by an Achilles tendon and made some noise earlier this week about maybe wanting to end his career somewhere else.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, he loves playing in Dallas, and, you know, sometimes they're just doing that. They say those kinds of things that get the coach's attention a little bit. Coach knows how to get theirs, and sometimes the players know how to get it back.
Matter of fact, Thornton Chandler started the game, played 1 play, and went to the bench. And Cosby has been in since. And I don't know whether there was an injury to Chandler, but we'll try and find out. 1st down average, 7.1 for the Cowboys. They lead it 17-0. Ball to 25. Walker left. Mike Pitts up on top with the initial contact.
Now, as you watch that Dallas offensive line when they do that shift, when Mike Ditka first came to the Bears, the one thing he asked us to do was that Dallas shift.
Did he?
Now, we look like an accordion when we were trying to do it. But what Dallas does with it is a lot of times you see those linemen stand up. Now, what that does is the defense can't read what they're doing in the backfield. And in that split second, you cause some doubt, and then you go back down and snap the football. But that's one of the reasons why the offensive line will do that stand-up routine.
I'll tell you something interesting. They did away with the shift for a year, and then they brought it back. There's the shift that Dan's talking about. 2nd down and 7. Cosby in motion. 4-man rush. Right side, Kelvin Martin almost is beheaded. And he's out of bounds short of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd and 2. Roynell Young made the tackle. We're coming to you this afternoon from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Cowboys have assumed command. They lead it by 17-0 with 10:17 to go 1st half. And they have a 3rd and 2 at the 17. Dallas has scored thus far on an 18-yard pass to Ray Alexander, a 1-yard run by Tim Newsom, and a 26-yard field goal, Roger Ruzek. The Eagles have been across midfield just once and then had a pass intercepted by Ron Francis. 3rd and 2. Newsom, the motion man. Bootleg by Ballure. Did not get the 1st down. They'll have to call Ruzek out again. This is Clyde Simmons who stayed home. And that looked like designed run all the way, a run or pass.
Well, I tell you what, though, when Ballure turned back around, he's like, my goodness, you know, what's happening here? Because there are 2 or 3 defenders in his face. So sometimes you wonder whether or not it was by design or by mistake that it happened, because it looked like Herschel Walker wanted that football coming back across the formation.
Roger Ruzek hit his first field goal, 26-yard out. That makes him 5 of 11 for the year. This will be from 34 yards officially. Ballure will hold on 4th and 1. High snap. But the kick is up, and it's true, and Ruzek might be breaking out of his slump. He's 2 for 2. That's from 34 yards away. The Cowboys turn a Ron Francis interception into 3 points. 9:26 to go first half. Cowboys have had the ball 4 times. They have scored 4 times. 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Clyde Simmons with an alert play on 3rd and 2. Not allowing Timmy Newsom out of the backfield and then coming in to contain Steve Ballure to force the field goal.
And that indeed was a bootleg. You're exactly right. And Steve Ballure couldn't dump it off to Timmy, so he says, hey, I got to run it. And Clyde pulls off and makes the stop.
Roger Ruzek, 2 field goals. Sean Beals back to return yet one more kickoff. One thing you never want to do is lead the league in kickoff returns.
Yeah.
That's a bad sign.
You don't want to see that happening.
Here's Beals at the 5 with a running start. Looked like a track man. He looked like Roger Kingdom as he came flying out. Hurdled the 10, hurdled the 15, hurdled the 20, and stumbled into a hurdle at the 25. A hurdle in the form of Ron Burton. Randall Cunningham comes back on. Things have not gone well for the Eagle offense. Buddy Ryan joins the crowd in urging them on.
Well, they have barely, the Eagles offense has barely had an opportunity to be on the field. You saw earlier in the graphic that we had that they've only had the ball about 5 minutes out of the game. Now, that's difficult for a young team to get on track when you only have it that amount of time. And no sustained drives.
Right guard Ron Solt is in. He trips on the first play he makes. And Byers is wrapped up and knocked down. Ron Solt, who had a protracted contract dispute with the Philadelphia Eagles before finally agreeing to a trade from Indianapolis. And he has practiced twice in the last 8 months.
Yeah, how would you like to do that? You come in, you sign a big contract, and then your first play, you're trying to pull out and lead the player around your right side, and you just simply trip. And there's your running back. Keith Byers is going, hey, big guy, come on.
You got the $1 million deal.
Yeah.
2nd down and 8. Cunningham in the shotgun. Sun comes out. And Cunningham has to hurry. Darts out of problems, and then he's in the grass. That's the 3rd sack. And Danny Noonan gets it.
Well, one of the things you want to see a quarterback do, though, is if he's gonna run, sometimes step up in the pocket, because you can buy yourself a little bit more time, and then if you're absolutely forced to, then you run. Sometimes Randall gets up in there and he just wants to take off right now. You just got to settle up in there a little bit, give yourself some time, and then go.
3 sacks for the Cowboy defense, which came in with 22 sacks for the year.
And what they're doing is they're running games up front, and that's why if you step up in that pocket, sometimes there's nobody else left there to tackle you unless you try to take off.
Shovel pass, Anthony Toney. And that'll be short of the first down, out to the 30. Gary Cobb, the former Eagle, made the tackle, number 59. Gary Cobb, whose wife and family still lives in Philadelphia. Got to see them for the first time in a month or so last night. Interesting young man. He was a 9th-round draft choice originally of the Dallas Cowboys back in the 70s out of Southern Cal, then played for Detroit for years.
And he was a man of the year here in the Philadelphia area in '87. He's a guy who gives a lot back to the community.
John Telchik, another excellent punt. Kelvin Martin at the 25. Martin tries to dance outside. Watch out. Oh, boy, what a pop. A fine return. Scott Curtis clotheslined him. Number 91, a 45-yard punt, a 16-yard return. Thus far, that man, John Telchik, out of the University of Texas, has been the most potent weapon the Eagles have posed. His punting has given them some help. And then after the punt, what happens? You say these kids aren't athletes?
Yeah, Billy Owens comes down and watch him check his oil here a little bit. Now, the one thing that you don't like is, again, Billy Owens went to the helmet there. And it's easy to pick on those punters. Wait until one of those linemen runs down there, though.
First down and 10, and for the Cowboys, Michael Irvin and Kelvin Edwards are in at wide receiver spot. Herschel Walker breaks through, and once he does, can be oh so dangerous. And he's down at the 50-yard line. Well, let's bring you up to date on what's happened so far in the ball game as the Cowboys lead it by 20-0. Time of possession, Dallas with a 4-minute edge. Ballure is 13 of 14 for 139 and a touchdown, and the total offense 200 yards to 22.
Now, the thing is, Steve Ballure is not only posting good numbers, but the other thing, as we talked about earlier, is he's putting them up on the board as well.
And Dallas has had problems scoring this year. Walker searches left and doesn't find anything. Manages to get maybe a half a yard. Mike Golick has come in place of Jerome Brown now, number 90. He made the tackle.
And what the Dallas offensive line is trying to do is they're doing that zone blocking again up front. Now, what that means is you are moving to an area with Philadelphia's defensive line slants fine. You're in position to pick them up. But that's the thing that they're trying to do. Block zones, clear out an area for your running back to run in.
3rd and 2. Minnesota leading Tampa Bay. Some other upsets in progress. Philadelphia was favored in this one. 3rd and 2. And Pelor will pass for the 15th time. Nice throw. And he's now 14 of 15. That's another first down for the Cowboys. Thornton Chandler made the catch.
What Steve Pelor is doing now is he's using all phases of his passing game, throwing short with touch on the ball. Now, because he's been known as a guy who wants to throw downfield deep, he's now developing that touch passing game that Danny White does so effectively for the Cowboys.
On first downs, the Cowboys have now accumulated 13 and the Eagles 2. 1st and 10 at the 45. Cosby, Martin, and Alexander come into the lineup now. Cosby goes tight to the right side. 5.5 to go before halftime. 20-0 Dallas. Play fake, Pelor back. Up in the pocket, sack, first time. Mike Reichenbach, who got his starting spot back about 3 weeks ago from Byron Evans.
Now, one of the things that the Philadelphia defense will do is they'll key blitz. And if you are Reichenbach here, number 55, and your guy does not come out in the pass pattern, you come in on the blitz. Now, watch Reichenbach slide around outside. After the game, you saw his running back stay in, and he says, hey, look, I'm going to go in and make this sack. Because what happens is Giles was coming from outside, and he just accompanied him on the blitz.
That is only the 6th time this year that Steve Pelor has been sacked. 6 times for Pelor, 11 for the Cowboys. 5 last week in the first half with Danny White playing. And Walker is tripped up by Mike Golick behind the line. And it'll be 3rd and long for the first time.
The other thing that Buddy Ryan likes to do defensively is he'll have those defensive tackles inside, key on the offensive guards, and as soon as they read pull, and they'll look at your stamps a lot too just to make sure, and as soon as they read pull, they'll just fire straight across the line of scrimmage and get into your backfield and upset what you're trying to do.
3rd and 16 officially. The average prior to this play has been 3.2 for Dallas. And they've got a mile to go now. Out of the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. And a delayed blitz. Pelor goes deep into zone coverage for Alexander, and it's incomplete. Eric Allen was right with him, and Terry Hogan come back to help.
That was excellent play by Eric Allen, too, because you saw he got his hands on the football. He looks like the receiver on the plate. And the key to it and not getting an interference call is he is looking back at the football. Now, watch number 21. He's down the left bottom of your screen, Eric Allen. Now, he just stays with Alexander stride for stride, turns inside and looks for the football, and he's got the great position. And there he makes the play.
Mike Saxon is on the punt for the first time. He's averaging 41 yards per kick for the year. Mark Konechny is back, and that's not a great punt. And Konechny, though, is stumbling and has to dive forward to make the catch, so it is inside the 20. Mike Saxon has in his contract a $10,000 bonus every time he leads the league and punts down inside the 20. He picked up 10 grand a year ago. .403 in the first half left in this one. Buddy Ryan looks on. His team trailing by 20-0. They have 0 yards rushing, 32 passing thus far. And Cunningham opens up in the shotgun. A 4 wide receiver set. A 4-man rush for Dallas. Cunningham drills it. And it's deflected. A flag is down. Pass interference. Should be the call on Robert Williams. Williams and Ron Francis, teammates at Baylor University. Williams got the starting spot when Francis was injured.
Defense, number 23, first down.
Now, the whole key here on the left side of your screen to watch now is the delivery of the blow. Now, if it's just before that ball gets there, you see that Robert is actually draped over, and that's what causes the flag to come out.
First down, Philadelphia.
Got to get some separation before the ball gets there, and then you can deliver.
Cunningham, left side behind Byers. And he had some pressure. Kevin Brooks was right in the face of Randall Cunningham. College football next Saturday on CBS Sports. The Penn State Nittany Lions travel to Morgantown, West Virginia to take on one of this season's major surprise teams, the undefeated West Virginia Mountaineers. It's a battle of traditional powers in the East next Saturday on CBS. Second down and 10. Cunningham left side. Caught. That's a first down at the 41-yard line. Ron Johnson makes the grab. His first since rejoining the Eagles. Johnson, a 30-year-old who's a 4-year NFL veteran. Put back on the active roster after Mike Quick went out with the injured reserve, to the injured reserve. First down and 10, Eagles. Shotgun again. 3:25 to go before halftime, and this one is deflected. And there's a flag on the far side of the field.
And what happened is Philadelphia did not set up. They went with like a 2-minute offense type thing, and as a result, they didn't have time to set up.
That'll cost them 5.
What you're trying to do here is really Philadelphia offense is get things moving, get people excited again. And sometimes when you do that, you say, hey, look, we're going to go without the huddle. But the result is some of you guys don't get into that 2-minute phase.
Illegal formation. 6 men on the line of scrimmage offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
That'll make it 1st and 15. Again, Ron Solt, number 65, is in at right guard, replacing Reggie Singletary. He's matched up against Kevin Brooks. Cunningham 6 of 11 for 60 yards. And again, no blitz by the Cowboys. Cunningham across the middle. Keith Jackson with a stiff arm. And a first down at the 31. A gain of 33.
And you know Randall Cunningham loves to go to this big tight end of these guys. Now the guy reminds you a lot of Kellen Winslow. Watch Cunningham. He finds him right across the middle. Now the key here is he does not go down when Everson Walsh tries to make the tackle. He does that little Heisman move there on Michael Downs. And now watch him punish some people on the sideline when he goes out. But 33 yards on the pass. That's what this young guy does for you offensively.
3 for 54 in this game. 45 for the year. And the deepest Philadelphia penetration of the afternoon. Stunts by the Cowboy defense. Cunningham across the middle again. At the 23, it's Keith Jackson. Tackled by Michael Downs, the free safety. And the first signs of life by the Eagle offense this afternoon. And if they can get something in, what a momentum builder that would be before halftime.
That's right, because they know they're going to have to hear from Buddy at halftime, and you want to put something on the board.
Cunningham flushed. Here's where he can kill you. First down, Eagles. Randall averages 7.9 yards every time he runs the ball.
And the key there is he got a nice turn back block from Anthony Toney, who turned around on Jim Jeffcoat and really put it right up in his chest. So his receivers downfield are turning around and recognizing the fact that he has that running ability and throwing blocks for him downfield.
In the last 3 games, only 8 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown. That time he picks up a first down at the 14-yard line. 20-0. Cowboys lead. Cunningham wants it quiet. They hand it off to Anthony Toney. And Ron Burton comes over the top as Ron Francis and Danny Noonan get low in front of him, and they stop him after a gain of 2 or 3.
And Randall came back to the huddle and said, hey, thanks, buddy. You threw that block for me. I'm going to hand it off to you. Give you a little action down here on the goal line.
At least one more play before the 2-minute warning. Second down and 8. Second and 7. Cunningham in the end zone. Tipped incomplete. Everson Walls might have gotten a hand on it.
Everson Walls had the blanket protection on Keith Jackson that time. He did get a hand on it, tipped it back over his shoulder. But the thing was that play, I think that Randall Cunningham tried to force the ball into Keith Jackson. It just wasn't there. The play was not there to be made.
That brings up a 3rd and 7. Philadelphia 0 of 4 on 3rd down conversions thus far. And they have the ball at the 11-yard line. Garrity goes left side, so does Byers. Toney stays in the backfield, and Carter and Jackson are both wide right. 37. No blitz by the Cowboys. Cunningham, the ball is tipped and caught. Touchdown. Keith Byers. Luis Zendejas on to try and make it a 13-point deficit with 2:07 to go in the half. On 3rd and 4, Byers with the deflected pass. Got it.
And that woke this Philly crowd up a little bit. Keith Byers there, an 11-yard TD reception, but great concentration on the play, because as he was running across the end zone, the ball was indeed tipped, and he kept his eye on it. Now watch, right in the middle of your screen, Cunningham pulls out. Now he finds Byers, but watch that ball's tipped right there by Gary Cobb. He tips it up. Now watch Byers concentrate on the ball. Even with a defender in front of him, he still makes the catch and rolls into the end zone for the score.
That's Byers' second pass receiving touchdown of the year.
And there he's saying thank you.
I like that a little better than a spike. Coming up at halftime, Brad Irv and Dick Butkus with all the scores and highlights. And Leslie Visser visited with Dan's old teammate Walter Payton this week and found even without football, he's still a man in motion. That's all coming up 2 minutes and 7 seconds from right now.
Well, you know, Walter's racing cars now, and now he's racing them legally, I should say. He's on the racetrack. And,
following in the path of Dan Pastorini.
That's right. He likes to live it on the edge. You know, he's the guy who loved speed when he was running the football, and now he can drive and get on the track and enjoy himself.
That's got to give a huge lift to the Eagles now. Excellent drive, featuring the catches of Keith Jackson until they got to the 11-yard line, and then Keith Byers gets the deflected pass. And Philadelphia within 13, 20-7. Zendejas with the kick. Cornell Burbage comes left and is knocked out of bounds near the 26-yard line. And that'll do it prior to the 2-minute warning. A 19-yard return by Cornell Burbage. Steve Ballore comes back on the field with the Cowboys leading 20-7. 1:58 to go before halftime. A most impressive Philadelphia drive. 83 yards in 9 plays after having done absolutely nothing in the first 17 minutes of the first half. That has got to be just a terrifically impressive drive and important drive for the Eagles.
Well, it's a real uplift for the Eagles. Now the key is for Dallas, don't make a mistake in the 2-minute portion of this quarter. Go in with your heads up high when you go into the locker room. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, they have incurred the wrath of Buddy Ryan, and at halftime, it's not going to be a lot of fun in that locker room. I know I've been there with them a couple of times, and I can tell you, it won't be printable.
This may be a case where we don't want to have the microphones in the locker room at halftime. Cowboys have the ball at the 30, and Pellure's back to throw. They don't have any timeouts left, remember that. And here is Newsome, who does not get out of bounds. He does have a first down at the 45. The Cowboys used all 3 of their timeouts fighting the clock in the first quarter.
As we said earlier, the thing that they don't want to do here is make a mistake by throwing an interception and take that advantage away from them and that up feeling that they've got going into the locker room at halftime. Steve
Ballore is 14 of 16, 15 of 17 in the first half. No timeouts left. Everett Gay in, 4 wide receiver set. Screen pass left. Walker nailed. Seth Joyner, number 59, makes the tackle.
Seth Joyner is one of those guys, Buddy Ryan says, as soon as he really locks into this defense, he's going to be in the Pro Bowl.
Now Philadelphia calls timeout. They do have 2 left after this one.
Timeout. Philadelphia.
Nope, they've got 1 left. I beg your pardon.
Timeout.
Now with a minute 8 remaining.
40-second timeout.
40-second timeout, as you heard. Now with a minute remaining, everybody says, well, gee, why did they call a timeout? Well, they figure if they can stop Dallas on this drive. They get the ball back maybe with about 50 seconds left on the clock, and they're able to go back in and maybe try to get a field goal out of this thing.
That makes this second down call for Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys all that important, because if they do have to yield the ball, they fall in danger of having the lead trimmed. And it's a Cowboy effort that may be the best of the year. They played with great enthusiasm, the Cowboys did, in the first 5 games of the year. Lost in the Monday night game to New Orleans, and then looked absolutely flat in back-to-back games against the Redskins and the Bears.
Well, the one thing you know about a Dallas team is it's well coached. Tom Landry is not going to let his players slip too far from where they're supposed to be. And the thing that he always does is switch things up a little bit from week to week, and that changes, you know, the look that defense will get.
2nd and 10 Dallas with 1:08 to go in the half. Eagles have 1 timeout left. The Cowboys are out of them. 5-man rush. Ball batted down as Kelvin Martin slipped, and then Roynell Young got there to knock it away.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a beautiful play by Roynell, though. He just kind of reached over and slapped the ball down and understood his spacing. See, that's the thing. When you get a defensive back, he understands the spacing, and that's what Roynell does, and he reaches over without getting the penalty.
Give you an idea of how young this Philadelphia team, Roynell Young and Ron Baker, who was inactive today, the offensive lineman, are the only 2 players remaining from the Super Bowl team of 1980. 3rd and 10. Valor, deep left side, man wide open. Alexander needs to get out of bounds and does not. So the clock keeps running. First down, Dallas at the 35, 21-yard gain. But Roy Alexander could not get out of bounds.
But the key thing is he made the reception, and you see Tom Landry arguing the point. He said he rolled out of bounds, but that's not the way it was ruled. Now Valor downs the football.
And a flag is thrown by Dick Hantak. And Valor is going to argue the case.
Now what that will be is delay of game if indeed.
Illegal touching. Offense.
He threw it
Number
at the
64. The pass hit the center in the foot.
Yep.
Lost it down. 2nd down.
That's the first time Tom Rafferty's been in a position to catch a pass in a 13-year career. But the real conflict here, that was an inadvertent throw at Rafferty's feet, comes here with Alexander. Did he or did he not get out of bounds? Landry said he did.
Right side of your screen. Now the key is here. He can still be rolling even though if he's not touched. He can roll his way to that sideline. Now he tries to get up here, but there you see he is touched just before he gets to that sideline. You can see the white stripe going down the side, and he didn't make it.
Valor, left side again. Alexander, and again he does not get out of bounds. That's good for the first down.
What he's got to do as a receiver is come back to the football, catch the football, and then make his move out of bounds. That's why he's sliding down to the turf. Come back to the ball.
Now let's see if he can avoid Rafferty. No, he's going to throw it right side, and it's incomplete. Better it was not caught.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelvin Martin, the intended receiver.
Now the quarterback is allowed to throw that ball right down at the lineman's feet, but you cannot hit him because that means he's a receiver. And I'm sure that when Rafferty looks at the stats after the game, he says, hey, at least give you a chance to catch it and run with it.
Landry looks a little agitated.
Yep.
That for him is an expression of extreme anger. 2nd down and 10. They're within field goal range of Ruzek with 19 seconds to go. No timeouts left. Blitz coming by the Eagles. Valor across the middle. No timeouts. The ball is down for 13, and the clock shows 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7.
Philly can take their time getting back over across the line of scrimmage now.
Did he get it before the clock expired? I don't think he did. He did not, because his right guard, Crawford Kerr, had not gotten back and gotten set.
The thing that happens a lot of times in that situation is the guy saying, what's it on? Never mind what it's on, just line up and get down. Now here's the setup. You see Crawford Kerr coming back from up the field. He tries to settle in, and it's just too late. Steve Valor bounces that ball up just as that last second ticks off the clock.
So an impressive late first half drive comes up empty. The Cowboys got to the 12 with no timeouts, but they don't get another score.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota. There's quality. Who could ask for anything more? Northwest Airlines, serving more than 220 cities in 20 countries on 3 continents. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.